A parent shouldn't have to bury their own child. He was our only son, and have to bury him. It was terrible. And in this crash, Your Honor.
Good morning, Your Honor. Ashley Lonnie for the people.
Hey, good morning, Your Honor. Dan Guerin on behalf of Seth Highmore. Seth, can you state your name to the judge, please?
Seth Highmore.
Okay. Go ahead. Yeah. Your Honor, we are here for a sentencing. I'll start first with there are no factual corrections of the information. I understand there's victim statements. Would you, Honor, like to hear those first?
Yes.
Certainly. We'll have a seat at the council table if that's okay.
Yes. All right.
Your Honor, I typically will have 3 statements this morning.
That's fine. All right.
First will be victim's mother.
How you doing, Your Honor?
I'm doing well.
Good morning to you.
Can you state your name for me, please?
I'm Gina Cornett, Jeremy's mother.
All right.
I'm Earl Cornett, father.
All right. Very good. All right. Go ahead, ma'am.
Your Honor, it's been 2 years on Friday.
Let me just stop you for a moment, okay? Do me a favor. Just make sure to take a deep breath. Take whatever time you need. I'm here all day, so you just
Okay.
I want you to tell me what you want to tell me. So,
Okay.
all right. So don't try to rush through or anything. Go ahead.
Well, like I was saying, Friday it'd be 2 years that our son was killed in a horrific car accident. And you can't even imagine the loss that has happened to us in our family, the void that has been put in our lives. We don't have our son with his kids to visit us every weekend. We miss him on the holidays, especially Easter, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. There's such a void. What has happened has impacted not only us, but our grandchildren. Jeremy's daughter, Aubrey, she's had to have counseling because of the horrific feelings that she's had to feel losing her dad. And Dominic kind of suppressed right now. And she has seen a psychiatrist, Aubrey has. And I like to say to Seth Highminer that he has to carry his cross for what has happened. I don't hate him. I forgive him. I forgive that. I can't even imagine. But I just forgive him, and I just hope that down deep in his heart, he realizes the impact that he's done to this family. Our son didn't have a chance. He was just killed so fast and instantly. It just was horrible. And here's a picture of our son, Lord, Your Honor.
My eyes were better, but
I would like everyone to see his face. He's a happy-go-lucky kid. And I just feel, Your Honor, that whatever you decide on Seth's sentencing, my feelings is that, I feel that he don't have to do whatever the max time that he has, but I feel he should at least do 3 months in jail to think about what he done to us. And I think that that's fair enough because he needs time to think about this. He does not even probably realize the impact he's done to this family. And I just want to say that I don't hate him. I pray for him, but he should be able to realize that what he's done has just been horrible. And that's all I got to say, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
I've been thinking about this for 2 years now. It's been very hard. There's 2 officers come on that night at midnight, knock on the door, and give you some terrible news that your son was killed. I talked to them for 10 or 15 minutes and they left. And I turned around to my wife. I goes, what did they just tell me? It it didn't register in my mind. And since then, I've been on anxiety pills 2 years now because it was such a shock, I guess, to me and the children and our family. A parent shouldn't have to bury their own child. He was our only son, and have to bury him. It was terrible. And in this crash, Your Honor, he set his car on autopilot at 70 miles an hour, driving into Ann Arbor in rush hour. Everyone who lives in Michigan knows Ann Arbor traffic is backed up both ways, coming and going. And he did this in the middle of the afternoon. And I think he needs some common sense. I think common sense should have told him better than that, Your Honor. And I'm going to leave it to the discretion of the court and probation, the sentence, and I'm not going to recommend anything. And I'm going to say that my wife and me will pray for the Highmore family, because I know it's cost them a lot too. A very, very sad thing. And I want to thank you, Your Honor, for listening to us.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Hello, Your Honor. My name is Sherry Krogel, and I was the deceased was my boyfriend at the time. We were on the phone when it happened, so for 2 years, hearing on and off, trying to figure out what was going on. I've went through a lot of different emotions on how I feel on the situation. He was my best friend. You can't get that back. But I don't personally feel that all lives should be ruined. So for me, what I think would be more beneficial, and I don't know if it would even be able to be a consideration, is that he was to have to take time out of his life to go to like a driver's ed or a school and talk about, just 1 second of not paying attention. Because if it could change one person's life for the better, that's what I think. I don't think more lives need to be ruined over an accident. That's it.
Thank you.
I have nothing further from the people.
All right.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
Your Honor, I say without any hesitation that, the two most difficult tasks and I think most defense attorneys face are, one, standing up after a victim statement that was, especially one with such grace, humility, and emotion that those poor people had to go through. And I certainly extend my sympathies to them on behalf of Mr. Highmore. And secondly, is to try to make sense of these types of cases, these types of charges, which I think we all agree in the system are the most emotional, most difficult cases to sort out. Because they are the only, or if not the only, one of the only offenses that bring accidental and negligent conduct into a criminal courtroom like today. But we're ready to deal with that. And I want to start with some cold and sterile requests, Your Honor. One, I think I mentioned, Your Honor, in chambers, I would ask Your Honor to either order restitution today with the condition that may be revisited if, in fact, that was contemplated in the civil lawsuit that was settled or to reserve restitution for a short amount of time while I talk to the insurance attorney. Secondly, Your Honor, of course, I'm asking you to follow the recommendation. I can't sit here and say I'm asking to impose jail time on my client. That would be difficult for me to say, but I do think that Ms. Polera understands her role very well and made a very good recommendation here. And if Your Honor believes that jail time is appropriate, my client is ready to go in today, of course. Your Honor, I will say this. As we look at the conduct here, I think that the victims are probably searching for an answer as to what happened. I would be too, if my loved one was killed or injured, and I don't think we're ever going to be able to offer that. Mr. Highmore doesn't have much of a memory. The police investigation didn't show that he was doing anything by way of reckless conduct, drinking, using drugs, using his phone. They checked all of those things. I think this was a situation in which Mr. Highmore simply either zoned out, didn't pay attention, and possibly we've learned a little bit about his medical condition since. He had worked a 14-hour shift in the sun, dehydrated, and certainly his actions have resulted in the death of this poor young man. I will say, of course, Your Honor, that Mr. Highmore has no prior criminal history, no subsequent criminal history. This was, of course, 2 years ago. I think Ms. Pilar noted that my client has shown remorse. He can't say a lot, unfortunately, because of potential civil liability. But I think his emotion, his family, all of whom are here, have written letters to say what a good young man this was and is, and I think will be affected the rest of his life. He's lost his privileges to drive. He's convicted, doesn't pale in any way in comparison to what the victims have gone through here. But I think that the impact on him has been profound. I think that the victim's mother, her desire for him to be impacted, I think will come true and has come true, and that he has been greatly impacted. So, Your Honor, I am ultimately asking you to follow the recommendation with those modifications.
Miss Levy.
Yes, I saw. Thank you, Your Honor. As to the restitution issue, just so the record is clear, the restitution that's been recommended by probation to be ordered was simply for the funeral expenses for the victims. So there was a civil lawsuit that may or may not have included those funeral expenses, certainly did include other monies paid, but that is, just so the record is clear, the only thing that probation ordered was for the funeral.
And as indicated, Your Honor, certainly we would never challenge the amount. It's just whether that was covered. And if not, then that will be certainly part of my client's order to pay back immediately.
Well, let me just deal with that. The record should reflect that I had a in-chambers conference with counsel. That issue was raised, and I will say that I'm going to order that restitution amount today. If it was covered either by an insurance or through some lawsuit, then one of two things then would happen if that was indeed paid, well, specifically directed toward those expenses. And so I want to be clear on that. If out of the settlement, the family used some of those funds to bury their child, that doesn't count in my book. It would have to be something that would have specifically been directed toward those expenses. If that was paid, then one of two things would happen to the amount paid by the defendant. Either it would go back to the defendant or would go to the insurance company, which paid the funds to the family. So,
Understood, Your Honor. Thank you for that clarification.
Let me just say at the outset, I think particularly to both families, all the years I've been on the bench, these types of cases, either in terms of adjudicating them or in terms of sentencing, are absolutely the worst. And they're the worst from my standpoint because in a lot of ways, sometimes you have sort of, I don't want to really call it good and evil, but you have somebody who is bad, and it's easy to then point the finger and to do something. But typically, and as I was going through the defense's letters that he sent in, and hearing about him, I would just indicate that, and then hearing about the deceased in this case, these aren't bad people, either side of it. And so it becomes problematic sometimes for the court. I'll say problematic, but it's what I have to do. I have to find some balance in terms of what I do. Before I continue, I guess, sir, is there anything you want to say? I do have to offer that to your allocution.
Yeah, I would just like to say that I am extremely sorry for what happened at the incident. And if there's anything I could do to change it, I promise I would. And that's all, Your Honor.
I will tell you folks, I have been thinking about this since the time of the plea. Particularly last night, it was what to do was weighing very heavily on me. And I can just share one thing with you, and I have certainly other thoughts. But as I was thinking about your family, and I had not met you, I don't think I had ever laid eyes on you. But I was sitting there and I received a text from my son. And it was something silly. I mean, he had charged my Amazon account for something he was buying. And he wanted to pay me back and put it back into my account. I thought about it for a minute, and it doesn't really mean much, but I told him it didn't matter to me. And it didn't matter to me because I heard from him. And I thought about you guys. And just the sadness that you don't get that text message. I don't know. I can't even imagine how you guys feel. People can say, though, that they want to put themselves in your place and can't imagine it, can't do it. I don't think you can be there till you're there. And then you don't know. To listen to Dad say that there were two officers talking to him and it's just not registered. I don't even know how you receive that kind of news. And what's difficult, certainly, is when, and hard to explain and hard for human beings to accept, is when the natural order of things are in place. We're not supposed to bury our children. We're just not. And it really almost calls, when something like that happens, for you to try to figure out the world. Like I said, I have never met you before, but ma'am, you're a testament to what is good. I don't know the strength and the courage it took. Sir, you need to realize the extraordinary gift she gave you today. Because I don't know, I'd like to think of myself as a good person. But I don't know that I could get there, stand there, give a victim's impact statement where this had happened to my child and ever forgive you. And for her to come here and basically that's the first thing out of her mouth. There's probably nothing greater than a mother's grace. Ma'am, I thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Certainly with me today. Every day I always expect that there's going to be a miracle. I never know what it's going to be. Your words, in my mind, were that today for me. And to his girlfriend, I would just say, I can't imagine. And I wasn't aware of it till you said it that you were on the phone with her. Just trying to move on. And that's hard. And again, I don't know where, when that happens, you even begin. I respect all of you in terms of your courage to come forth and to give those statements that you gave. And for waiting all of this time as our system kind of worked itself through to even get to this day. I realize no matter what I do, with all the power and all the everything that comes with this robe, I can't do the thing that I would wish to do most. And that is to bring back your son and your best friend. I don't have that power. God knows I wish I did. I can only try to make it as right as I can. And sometimes people come to court and they don't think that they're listened to. I heard every word that each of you said. And I will tell you that even into this evening and certainly thereafter, your words, your grace will be with me. And I will hear it over and over. I don't think you guys realize, and again, like I'll say it again, I don't know you when you got up here, all three of you. You guys are extraordinary. It sometimes is not what I get when victims give their statements. Dad, I'll tell you one thing that I did, so I'll just disclose it. You had numerous conversations with Miss Polera, my probation. And as I was going through that, I would always ask, and maybe I did this because I'm a dad myself. And I would always ask Miss Polera when I'd see her in the hallway or I'd see her wherever, how's Dad doing? And she'd tell me that sometimes you were here, and then sometimes you were here, and then sometimes you were here. And all of that was normal. But I wanted to let you know that I was checking on you. Can't make it better, but Miss Polera was sending that information through to me all the time. And for all of you, what I do is I just wish you peace. It is a sentence of the court. I'm going to place you on 24 months probation. You are to pay $855 fines and court costs, $720 probation oversight fees, $4,291.20 restitution to Earl Cornett payable through the court. When can you pay that?
Take a little time, Your Honor, but I will make sure it's paid off in full as soon as possible.
Do you have anything with you today?
I'm due, but I'm not exactly sure the exact amount. I'm going to be getting a loan from my family to help pay it.
From who?
My family, Your Honor.
How much can be paid today?
Do you want your dad to try to answer that?
Yes.
Your Honor, may his dad help with that answer? That's okay.
That's fine.
Scott, all right. It's indicated 500 today, Your Honor. They have 1,000, Your Honor.
$1,000 today. I wanted it immediately checked into regarding the restitution so that when that $1,000 is paid, if the restitution is to go to the family, I want that to go to the family. I'll deal with the fines and costs probation. I don't care. But
Do you want that $1,000 put into bond for right now to hold it until we know, Judge?
yeah, I want it held until there's a determination. If it's supposed to go to the family,
I see. So it can be paid towards restitution.
it can be paid toward restitution and then we'll figure it out, but it won't be much, but we can do that. That amount needs to be paid in cash. So however they have to make that happen, it's got to be paid that way so that it can be paid out to the family.
Then Your Honor, I'll try to get the answer from the insurance attorney as quickly, maybe even today if possible.
Very good. There is to be no use of alcohol, recreational marijuana, or any illegal substance. You'll be subject to random testing as requested by probation. You are to complete a driver improvement course as directed by probation. Going to, when it says that people aren't listened to, and I'm sorry, ma'am, what was your name again? I did not write it down and I'm
Sherry.
Sherry.
Sherry and Gina, Your Honor.
All right. Sherry, I'm going to take your recommendation to the court. It struck me as something, when you said, I don't want to ruin everybody's life, but maybe something good can come out of this. I say we give it a shot. So one of the things that I'm going to order is that I'm going to increase the number of community service hours. And I'm going to order 250 hours of community service, specifically with the extra 150 that I've added. I want that directed toward community service and talking to kids about how to operate a vehicle safely and to pay attention and what the consequences of not doing that can be. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Does that meet kind of what you were thinking of? I'm also going to order an added condition. I realize that his driving privileges in the state of Michigan are suspended, but I'm going to order no driving so that if he is caught driving in any respect whatsoever, that would be a violation of his probation as opposed to some sanction from the Secretary of State. Regard to jail, incarceration. The recommendation here is for the 45 days. When I walked out, I will tell you, certainly because I was going to listen to everybody, that I had not decided whether there was going to be any jail time, whether there was going to be the maximum amount of jail time. But I think Mom's right. Whatever happened, because there's not really an explanation, which is probably also difficult. It might be easier, even if one were to hear, I wasn't paying attention and this would happen. Just something. But it's just absent. There's nothing. Over 365 days in jail, credit 4 days. I will indicate that defendant will be remanded to the Washtenaw County Jail. I am changing the recommendation of probation. Defendant will serve 90 days. And during those 90 days, I hope you take the time to do with that woman that bestowed grace upon you today of forgiving you. that you do that, that you think about this, and that you think about what has happened and just what your inattention, inaction, what that does to this family, what it's done to your family. So you will serve 90 days. The balance of that time will be suspended. There is also defendant is remanded.
What we just witnessed inside this courtroom was not about villains and heroes. It was about consequence, accountability, and the irreversible cost of a single moment of inattention. This sentencing hearing laid bare something the justice system struggles with most. How do you punish an accident when the outcome is permanent, devastating, and life-altering? At the center of this case is a tragic reality. Jeremy lost his life instantly in a crash that never should have happened. His parents described a pain that no sentence can undo. The knock on the door at midnight. The shock that doesn't register. The anxiety that follows for years. And the unbearable truth that a parent should never have to bury their child. Their statements weren't fueled by rage. They were marked by grief, restraint, and, most strikingly, forgiveness. That kind of grace is rare, and the judge made it clear it mattered from a legal standpoint. This case was never about recklessness fueled by drugs or alcohol. Investigators found no intoxication, no phone usage, no intentional misconduct. What the court was left with was negligent zoning out, fatigue, and a moment where common sense failed. Defense counsel emphasized that point repeatedly, explaining that this is one of the hardest categories of crimes in the legal system because it criminalizes accidental conduct. But as the judge made unmistakably clear, intent doesn't erase outcome. The court had to balance several competing truths at once. A man with no criminal history, clear remorse, and a future forever marked by this incident against a family whose future was permanently stolen. That balance is exactly why sentencing took time, deliberation, and emotional weight. The judge didn't rush this decision. He listened, he reflected, and he connected it to something deeply human: receiving a simple text from his own child, while knowing this family would never receive another one from their son. Legally, the sentence combined accountability with purpose. The defendant received 24 months of probation, financial penalties including restitution specifically directed to funeral expenses, and strict conditions: no driving whatsoever, no alcohol or illegal substances, and mandatory testing. But the most impactful elements were the incarceration and community service. The judge increased jail time to 90 days, making it clear that reflection requires separation and consequence. At the same time, the court ordered 250 hours of community service, including speaking directly to young people about distracted driving and its irreversible consequences. That decision echoed the victim's girlfriend's statement that something meaningful should come from this tragedy. Not just more destruction. This wasn't leniency, and it wasn't vengeance. It was a sentence shaped by empathy, responsibility, and prevention. The judge acknowledged what no ruling can fix, that no amount of jail time brings Jeremy back. But the court also sent a clear message. Inattentive driving is not harmless. Fatigue is not an excuse. And negligence behind the wheel carries real, acute criminal consequences. So here's the question for you. Did the court strike the right balance? Was 90 days enough for too much, given that this was an accident? And does turning tragedy into education truly honor the life that was lost? This case forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about how quickly lives can change and how accountability must exist even when intent does. Not. One thing is undeniable: every person in that courtroom walked away changed. And for the families involved, this sentence is not closure, but a chapter they are forced to live with forever. If you found this case as shocking and emotionally powerful as we did, make sure to hit that like button. Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth, jaw-dropping courtroom breakdowns.